All right, welcome back. Coming this summer, a little different this week. JJ, and I are all a little busy working on a thing kind of behind the scenes. So, shorts, these kind of solo reviews, and trailers are pretty much going to be this week. Today, I am reviewing Furiosa, a Mad Max saga. Now, I'm going to give my first thoughts and kind of then talk about what I liked about the movie because I don't think this is better than Fury Road. I don't even know if it's better than some of the Mel Gibson Mad Max movies, but it was fun. It was very serviceable. If you're just going to see this because you're an Anya Taylor-Joy fan, I wouldn't hold out hope, even though she did pretty well as Furiosa. She doesn't show up for like 45 minutes into this movie, maybe 30. But for the first 30 minutes, we really only get little baby Furiosa, like Furiosa Jr., where she's just a little kid, pretty much being paraded around by Chris Hemsworth's character, Lord Dementis, which we'll get into that, but a lot less orange, a lot less blue than Mad Max Fury Road. I feel like this was a great blend of what Fury Road brought to the table and then what the Mel Gibson movies were about. This movie really wasn't necessary. I think George Miller's getting up there in years and kind of, I don't want to say slipping because dude can still make a movie clearly, but this should have been made sooner and closer to Fury Road than almost 10 years removed from that movie, because Fury Road came out in 2015, I believe. So this is like 8 years, so almost 10 years after. Yeah, that's kind of like my general thoughts about the movie. Like, it was good, it was fun. It's way too long. So if you need to kill a third of your day, go see it, I guess. But if you got shit to do and you're like, I gotta squeeze in this movie real quick, don't count on it. If you need a quick movie, go watch Garfield. That burns by, literally burns by like nothing. Like you didn't even watch anything. This movie relies. Now I'm going to get into some complaints here. So that's my first thoughts. We're going to get into some spoilers, even though there's not really spoilers until like the last scene in the movie, which you can probably infer from where we get to in Fury Road. But again, this movie, it takes too long to get Anya Taylor-Joy actually as Furiosa in her full, like, well, it takes even longer for her to get her like full costume, but we do get her like probably 30-45 minutes into this 2.5 hour movie, so you still get like more than a third of the movie with her in it. Yeah, I don't know, man. It's just, Fury Road was so good because it was just one big car chase and it was awesome. This is Fury Road. I keep telling people this is Fury Road with like a lot of downtime, a lot of room to pause and really talk about the world. Whereas like Fury Road is one big action set piece with like minor pauses, but they're like 5-second pauses that just bring you another action set piece. This is like action set piece. It's like a standard movie. Action set piece, dialogue, 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 action set piece, dialogue, 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 rinse and repeat until the movie's over. Which isn't a problem because in a Mad Max action movie, that's kind of how you need to do it. Whereas in Fury Road, it was something different than the Mel Gibson movies and something new. It was something new where it's like one string of action just spaced out over a 2-hour movie where it's like, this is a origin story. I compare this a lot to Solo, a Star Wars story, because she has to get, Furiosa that is, she has to get all her MacGuffins and stuff. Like in Solo, his name isn't Solo. They have to address why he was called Solo.
Who are your people?
I don't have people.
Solo.
This is like, how'd Furiosa lose her arm? How did she become an imperator to Immortan Joe? How did she go through all the things that she went through that lead up to Mad Max Fury Road we get in this movie, which, yeah, is it cool? Yeah. Is she a badass? Yeah, of course she is. We already knew this from Mad Max Fury Road, where Charlize Theron crushed it as Furiosa. And that movie pretty much was Furiosa. Mad Max himself, Tom Hardy, is just kind of along for the ride and isn't really given anything to do in that movie other than assist Furiosa. So this is almost like Furiosa -1. Like, Mad Max Fury Road was already a Furiosa movie. This is her origin story, where it's like, I don't need her origin story. She's a badass one-armed chick who works for this weird-ass tumor-ridden guy who's pumping chicks full of babies, you know? I don't need more of that. Fury Road starts and you're like, I have so many questions that most of them, over half of them probably, will not be answered in this movie. That's Fury Road, that is. And then all those questions you have are answered in Furiosa, which is cool, but it's almost like that decree, that mantra, that like what you're told about will probably be cooler in your head than if you were actually shown that thing. Like in Fury Road, which I know I'm comparing it a lot to Fury Road, but it's the same movie. It coincides with each other almost 100%. You couldn't have one without the other. You couldn't have this movie without Fury Road. I don't even know where I was going with that. Oh, Fury Road introduces Gastown in the Bullet Farm, and these like leaders of both those things, like, hey, the leader of Gastown or the Bullet Farm or whatever is actually the brother of Immortan Joe, who runs the Citadel, which gives everyone like water and food and milk and shit. This one, we actually get taken to Gastown and the Bullet Farm, and they are underwhelming, at least to me, of when I thought like Gastown, you know, that sounds awesome, you know, like the Bullet Farm sounds way cooler than what we saw in this movie. And by the time when we actually get there, you're like, oh, that's it. It's just kind of a place. And I don't know what I thought it would be, but when we see the Citadel in the opening of Mad Max Fury Road, it looks awesome. So you would just kind of think that the Bullet Farm and Gastown would look equally as cool as the Citadel. But they're just places that we would have in the real world, which kind of makes sense. These raiders just like overtook a facility, you know, and then now they produce bullets for the entire wasteland, and that's where you get your gas, is Gastown and Bullet Farm. So yeah, I sound negative on it, but I enjoyed my time watching it, aside from it being like 2.5 hours long. And I definitely will go see this again, probably this week before it gets booted out of IMAX. But I'm going to give it, I don't want to give it a 6, but I don't want to give it a 7, because 6 is too low and 7's too high. So we're going to go like 6.5. I'm going to go 6.8, because I can't give it a 7. And it's just, I didn't need every single question I had from Fury Road answered in this movie. So I don't know. There it is. Let me know what you thought about it. I sound negative, but I'm not negative on it. I'm just like, something's wrong and we didn't need this movie. But I'm like kind of glad I watched it because it was really cool. The action set pieces are really fucking dope. We get a lot of aerial stuff that we didn't get in the previous Mad Max film, which is reminiscent of Mad Max 2, The Road Warrior, where we get the Gyro Captain, which, yes, I did watch all the 80s Mad Max movies also in preparation for this. So they're definitely a different bag. The Mad Max 80s movies are definitely way different than Furiosa and Fury Road. There is talks of a Mad Max, I'll say Fury Road 2, Wasteland Warrior, I think, which was supposed to be this movie, but then got turned into a Furiosa. So I hope we get a Fury Road trilogy. I hope George Miller can crank out one more of these. I would, even though I said he was slipping earlier, I would like to see at least one more so that we get 2 complete trilogies of Mad Max, because the world is dope. It's crazy bonkers, but it's dope. So I'll leave you with that.
Before, and they take away screens. It used to be like you got 4K and like 6 screens and all
Yep.
that, and it was like $10 a
password
month.
sharing,
You're
they weren't as.
Now it's like
Yeah.
2 4K screens, and it's like limited bandwidth 4K, and you know if you share your password, then they come for you
Yeah.
and take your firstborn.
It's like $100 a month or whatever by this point, you know.
It's gonna be close to $30 a month for Netflix.
Oh my God.
No,
For Netflix.
Netflix doesn't have
What do
anything.
they have?
Nothing. Yeah. If they were like, oh, the big Sony movies are also dropping day one on Netflix, and it's like,
Well, because I know they have that Sony deal,
yeah,
but it's Madam Web?
yeah.